A lot of people incarcerated that definitely talk to their friends and talk to me to tell me my friend from jail is, watching you play and watching everything that's going on. So it's just like the world, I say is so small. And
what if I told you the most electrifying quarterback performance of the year didn't happen during the Super Bowl or a heated playoff shootout? It happened in a preseason game. No confetti, no parades, just one kid stepping onto the field and sending the entire National Football League into a full-scale panic. The name? Shedeur Sanders. In under 4 quarters, he didn't just play, he detonated. The stats were clean. The throws were deadly. The swagger? Unteachable. This wasn't your average rookie easing his way into a pro jersey. This was a 5-round draft pick walking into the NFL with fire in his chest and something to prove. Viewership shattered records. Social media exploded. And by the time the ball hit the turf for the final time, everyone, from sideline reporters to angry defensive coordinators, was asking the same question. Did we just witness the beginning of something historic?
NFL debut with the Cleveland Browns, and he did not disappoint at all. He threw 14 to 23 for 138 yards and also 2 touchdowns. He was delivering the ball. He also showed off his legs, going for 19 yards and actually getting some first downs. I know it's a preseason game. I know it's too early to tell. It looked and seemed like he was really comfortable out there. Even with Panthers defenders running all in his face, he was still calm.
But see, this wasn't just hype. It wasn't a lucky break or a flash-in-the-pan performance. Because what Shedeur Sanders didn't just impress, it exposed the league. For years, the Cleveland Browns were the NFL's running punchline, a franchise drenched in hopeless seasons, broken draft picks, and more quarterbacks than a college dorm fantasy league. It wasn't just failure. It was repeated heartbreak, served up with factory-like consistency. Even their rare wins felt more like flukes than turning points. You didn't watch the Browns to be inspired. You watched them to feel better about your own team. And into this storm walked Shedeur Sanders, a 5th-round pick who, by most media standards, wasn't even supposed to scratch the surface of NFL headlines. No flashy draft night handshake, no cover stories, or future of the franchise tags. Just a kid with a famous last name and a locker at the bottom of the depth chart.
Sanders last night, the most watched preseason game in NFL history. Time to get into the Shedeur Sanders. Now,
but what nobody saw coming was this. He wasn't here to fit into Cleveland. He came to reshape it. And the Browns? They didn't just need a quarterback. They needed a reason to believe again. Someone who could shake off decades of dust and turn hopelessness into swagger. And from the very first snap, it was obvious. This wasn't the same old Browns. From the moment Shedeur Sanders took his first snap, it didn't feel like preseason anymore. It felt like appointment television. The lights weren't brighter. He just made them feel that way. First drive, boom! A frozen rope to the sideline that sliced through Carolina's secondary like it was drawn on a whiteboard. He followed it up with a rollout bullet off one foot, the type of throw coaches usually tell rookies not to make. 2 touchdown passes later, the rookie label was already starting to sound ridiculous.
Be able to inspire people to do everything, because the lady just told me now, when I'm having a bad day, I just think about Shedeur, and I'm saying, I'm gonna act like Shedeur. So like that's so cool, to me, that I'm so.
But it wasn't just about stats. It was how fast the narrative shifted. Fans weren't hoping he'd be good. They were already certain he was special. By the end of the second quarter, jerseys were flying off shelves. Twitter, X, was flooded with highlight clips. Entire sports bars erupted every time he dropped back. And when the broadcast numbers finally came in, it was confirmed. This wasn't just a game. It was the most watched preseason matchup in NFL history. And the best part? Sanders didn't flinch. While everyone else was staring in awe, he just kept slinging. There's composure, And then there's whatever Shedeur Sanders was on that night. Because what that man displayed wasn't just calm, it was straight up confidence, carved from stone. No nerves, no fidgeting, no rookie mistakes hiding behind play action. Just pure, calculated swagger.
Did Friday night makes me anxious now to see Dylan Gabriel in the preseason. Because I want to see what he can do. And look, if Dylan goes out there and he does what Shedeur did, I got no problem saying I was wrong. Then, okay, then Dylan's just a bad practice quarterback. Dylan very good on the whiteboard. Dylan very good at memorizing stuff. Dylan very good in games. He's a terrible practice quarterback. I would have no problem saying that. But right now, he's a terrible practice quarterback.
Well,
you could see it in the way he stood in the pocket, unfazed. Carolina defenders blitzed with fire in their eyes. But Shedeur, he looked like a guy checking his watch at a red light. On one play, they sent six. And instead of folding, he stepped aside like he was dodging a puddle, bought 2 seconds, and lasered a 25-yard strike without breaking rhythm. That wasn't luck. That was instinct. And when he unleashed his throws, they weren't lobs or guesses. They were weapons, precise enough to slice zones and fearless enough to scare grown men. He didn't just make completions. He made statements. Every throw told a story. Every scramble felt scripted. This wasn't a quarterback learning the ropes. It was someone rewriting the entire playbook in real time. And the league noticed.
To play and start, because guess what? That preseason game is going to get record ratings. I thought the game was at Cleveland, but it's at the Panthers. So no matter what, think about all those people, because hey, Jax, they got a big crew of folks up there in Charlotte. They're going to be in the house. You're going to have people that's going to call them all over that know Shedeur. So they're going to pack that place. So I think honestly, Coach Stefanski has been the one that say, hey, just
to understand Shedeur Sanders, you've got to go back further than his college highlights. This swagger, it didn't come out of nowhere. It was built, sharpened, and passed down through blood. When your father is Deion Sanders, the most electrifying two-sport athlete the world has ever seen, a Hall of Famer who played with gold chains and game-breaking speed, you don't just grow up around greatness, you absorb it. But genetics alone don't explain what we saw. Shedeur isn't some hand-me-down success story. He's a student of the game who outtrains nearly everyone around him. Rumors say he throws before and after practice until his arm is sore. Some even worry he's overdoing it. But that's the thing. With Shedeur, obsession isn't a flaw. It's a feature.
Your reaction to Shedeur Sanders' first game as a pro?
I was extremely impressed. Shedeur Sanders was comfortable and confident. You saw him stand in the pocket and take hits and deliver strikes. Some of the
coaches talk about his study habits. Teammates say he knows the defense's playbook better than the defense itself. And the Browns? They didn't even plan to take him seriously at first. Fifth-round picks are supposed to ride the bench, not spotlight the league. Yet here he is, in a league dominated by recycled veterans and robotic schemes. Shedeur shows up with flair, intellect, and something else they can't figure out. By halftime, Cleveland was already feeling something they hadn't felt in years: hope, and maybe even hype. You didn't have to check the box score to know something big was happening. The proof was everywhere. Fans weren't just watching, they were on their feet, calling cousins, tagging friends, FaceTiming people from their seats. The team store couldn't keep up. Shedeur Sanders jerseys were selling out faster than playoff tickets. On social media, every throw turned into a meme, a clip, or a slow-motion highlight racking up views in the millions.
And we wanted to address our front of our defense to stop the run.
Even the beer lines disappeared. That's right, Cleveland fans stopped buying beer in the middle of a Browns game because nobody dared to miss a snap. When's the last time that happened? When LeBron came back? Maybe. But this felt different. This wasn't nostalgia. It was new energy. Inside the stadium, it wasn't tension or tradition fueling the buzz. It was belief. The volume, unmatched. The vibes, unreal. People weren't just watching a game. They were witnessing a franchise flip in real time. And what's wild is, this was only preseason. Teams don't turn around overnight, unless you've got someone like Shedeur Sanders under center. It started subtly. You could see it in the huddle. Guys weren't just lining up, they were lining in, hanging on his words, locking in like they actually believed something special was about to happen. Then came the rest.
Have we seen enough? Have you seen enough of Dylan? What have you seen from Dylan Gabriel to make you think he can be number 2?
Excuse me, who wrote that?
The Browns Athletic Insider.
The Browns Athletic Insider, right?
Yep.
So you see Shedeur do what he does. Three quarters of football. I think maybe played well into the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So in a live game, you saw him play the way he played and still question if he can do the same thing when he has the actual starters at his disposal.
The receivers, they looked reborn, running routes like their next paycheck depended on it. Because with Shedeur throwing darts, it might. There was urgency, precision, and hunger. Shedeur's spiral doesn't just arrive, it demands to be caught. Drop one, you're already rehearsing your apology. The offensive line, suddenly, brick wall. Their protection looked elite. Not because they got better overnight, but because Shedeur made protecting him feel like guarding treasure. Even the defense fed off the energy. Hits were cleaner, tackles snapped louder. Guys were flying around like they hadn't felt this alive in seasons. And up in the press box, people noticed. The Browns weren't just playing harder. They were playing like they knew they could win. One preseason performance flipped the locker room's heartbeat. The kid hadn't just lit a spark, he started a full-blown wildfire.
Why? Well, people say he throws a lot before practice and after practice. Well, how counterproductive is that?
I'm sure there's a method to the madness.
What is it?
He's trying to get his arm right, Tone. I'm sure he's probably practiced more now than he has at any point in his
collegiate it obviously
career.
Was counterproductive because he's got...
With fans roaring and teammates fired up, you'd think the entire Browns organization would be throwing parades for Shedeur Sanders. But behind the cheers, the whispers started. And they weren't all praise. Some insiders began pointing out strange decisions. Why was he still fighting for reps with backups? Why hadn't the coaching staff fully committed? Why were media leaks subtly downplaying his performance? Even Stephen A. Smith called it out, saying bold as ever that the Browns might be sabotaging Shedeur's rise. And it's not just smoke. There are real conversations happening among analysts, former players, and fans alike. Is Cleveland truly ready for a quarterback like Shedeur? Not just because he's talented, but because he's different. Bold, loud, media savvy, and let's not ignore it, the son of Deion Sanders.
Said before last college season started that Shedeur Sanders should go number 1 overall. It was either he or Travis, 1, 2, 2, 1, and I would go every time with the quarterback because he is the quarterback. He is him. He is the son of the greatest cornerback and to me the greatest athlete ever. Greatness flows through his veins, and I said it all year long. He should go 1 in the draft.
There's history there. Deion broke molds, defied control, and carved his own lane. Shedeur, he looks like he's about to do the same. And that kind of energy doesn't always sit well with NFL traditionalists, especially in a franchise with a past full of missed chances and fragile reputations. But if this is sabotage, they picked the wrong rookie. Fourth quarter, Browns clinging to a thin 3-point lead. The Panthers stacked at the line, daring Cleveland to run it safe or choke. It was the exact moment most rookies would crumble. Play it safe, check it down, just don't lose it. But not Shedeur Sanders. What he did next didn't just seal the game. It rewrote the temperature of the entire NFL. He took the snap, disguised a silky handoff that sent half the defense sprinting the wrong way like they'd been tricked in a video game. rolled out with that same surgical pace, and let it fly. And not just a pass, a missile, a moonshot. It hung in the air just long enough to make people stand up, gasp, maybe even hold their breath a little. Then, boom, catch, touchdown, chaos. The stadium erupted like a playoff game. Sidelines went nuclear, and the ratings off the charts. By the time the final whistle blew, his box score didn't read like a rookie debut. It looked like a cheat code. 300 plus yards, multiple TDs, 0 turnovers, a passer rating that made analysts reconsider what they thought they knew. That single throw wasn't just the highlight of the night. It was the moment everything changed. One game, one chance, one rookie who wasn't supposed to take over anything suddenly took over everything. Shedeur Sanders didn't just debut. He launched a warning shot through the league, a clear message. I'm not next. I'm now. Cleveland, once the league's punchline, now feels like the set of a blockbuster. Ticket sales are spiking. Primetime cameras are circling. Fans who once covered their faces in Monday memes are now buying playoff merch in August. And national networks? They're already restructuring schedules to flex more Browns games into Sunday night. Sanders doesn't just boost the team, he transforms the market. But here's what really matters. This wasn't a fluke. The reads, the vision, the movement, it was all too smooth, too consistent, too studied. You're either born to do this, or you're built in fire. Shedeur looks like both. The question now isn't, can he do it again? It's, who's gonna stop him? Because if this is what he looks like in game 1, what's gonna happen when he's got 16 more under his belt? The Browns may have stumbled into greatness. Or maybe, just maybe, they drafted a franchise savior and didn't even know it. And the rest of the league? They should be very, very scared.